If you feel like everything is getting more expensive, you're not imagining it. Food, fuel, rent, travel. Almost everything costs more than it did a few years ago. But here's the real question. Why? Why does money seem to lose value over time? And more importantly, who actually benefits from this? This is inflation. Inflation is simply the rise in prices over time. Or in simpler terms, your money buys less than it used to. If a burger cost 100 rupees last year, and 110 rupees today, that's inflation. But inflation is not just about prices going up. It's about something deeper. It's about the value of money falling. Think of it like this. If you had 100 rupees 5 years ago, you could buy more with it than you can today. So the problem is not just that things are expensive. The problem is, your money is weaker. Same number. Less power. Now the real question. Why does this happen? There are a few key reasons. And once you understand them, inflation stops looking random. First, demand pull inflation. This happens when people want to buy more things than the economy can produce. For example, imagine suddenly everyone wants to buy cars. Demand increases quickly, but production takes time. What happens? Prices go up. Because when demand increases, and supply cannot keep up, prices rise. That's demand pull inflation. Demand pulling prices upward. Now the second type. Cost push inflation. This is when the cost of producing goods increases. For example, if oil prices go up, transport becomes expensive. Factories become expensive to run. Raw materials become costly. So businesses increase prices. Not because demand increased, but because their costs increased. That's cost push inflation. Now in real life, inflation is usually a mix of both. Demand pull and cost push happening at the same time. And that's why inflation is harder to control than it looks in textbooks. But there's another factor. And this one is extremely important. Money supply. Governments and central banks can increase the amount of money in the economy. When more money enters the system, people have more spending power. But if production does not increase at the same rate, prices go up. Think of it like this. If there are 10 pizzas and 10 people, everyone gets one slice. But if there are still 10 pizzas and now 20 people, more demand, same supply, higher prices. Now replace people with money. More money chasing the same goods leads to inflation. This is why printing money sounds simple, but comes with consequences. Now let's go one level deeper. Why do governments even allow inflation? Why not just keep prices stable forever? Because a small amount of inflation is actually useful. It encourages people to spend instead of holding money. If prices are rising slowly, keeping money idle means losing value. So people invest. They buy assets. They spend. And this keeps the economy moving. But when inflation becomes too high, that's when problems begin. When inflation rises too fast, people lose purchasing power quickly. Savings lose value. Uncertainty increases. Businesses struggle to plan. Consumers reduce spending. And in extreme cases, it can damage the entire economy. Now here's the part most people don't think about. Inflation does not affect everyone equally. Some people lose. But some people actually benefit. If you hold cash, your money loses value over time. But if you hold assets, like stocks, real estate, or businesses, their value often rises with inflation. Because as prices rise, asset values rise too. So inflation quietly transfers wealth from people who hold money to people who own assets. And that's one of the reasons why wealth inequality increases over time. Now let's connect this to something you already understand. Exchange rates. If a country has higher inflation compared to other countries, its currency weakens. Because its goods become expensive, demand for them falls, and its currency loses value. So inflation doesn't just affect prices. It affects trade, investment, and the global position of a country. Now let's bring this back to you. If inflation is happening, and your income is not increasing at the same rate, you are effectively getting poorer. Even if your salary stays the same. Because your purchasing power is falling. So the real question is not, is inflation happening? It always is. The real question is, are you keeping up with it? Because people who understand inflation adapt. They invest. They build assets. They think long term. People who don't feel like life is just getting more expensive without understanding why. And that's the difference. So don't think of inflation as just rising prices. Think of it as a system. A system that shifts value, changes behavior, and affects everyone differently.